Welcome everybody to another episode of 630 Skirmishers. I'm your host Kevin. Alongside with me is Graham. This is the way, Carlson.
This is the way. We are finally in our hot Mando summer, and I'm just so stoked to finally get our hands on some of these sweet models. And I think we have it on pretty good authority that the models themselves are pretty good. Yeah, Kevin, you started building a couple of these, right?
I started building a few of these already. Yeah, the models are great. There are a lot of options to switch out pieces and small pieces and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to attach the kind of drapery on all of your Mandos if you don't want to. They have belt pieces instead of, I don't know what you want to call it, the loincloths that drag out the side. Because it's not a cape on some of them. It's
some
like,
sort of shawl.
Yeah,
it's a decorative
it's
scarf.
not even a shawl. It's like coming from the belt area. So I don't know. Is that a sachet?
Yeah, some
Who
sort of athletic towel. I don't know.
Not really sure, but yeah. So it seems like every model has at least 2 different guns to choose from. In your heavies have 3 different weapons technically, but technically you're getting 2 heavies and a unit leader per sprue, and you get 3 of those sprues. So you'll get 3 leaders and 6 different heavies.
In that Mando army box?
Yeah, in the Mando army box. One of them builds the shucker, the corn shucker, and the sniper rifle, and then one builds the micro grenade launcher and a sniper rifle. You can choose from 2 different backpacks, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, especially because you can either do like a uniformity thing, or you can do more of a hodgepodge. We're going to be talking about Covert today, and so when I'm building my Covert stuff, I'm going to try to make it like a variety pack, because it's just all the equipment that they've cobbled together over time. So,
and I love that. I actually like. I am probably going to build most of my warriors as a hodgepodge.
Okay.
So like more my core and my fire supports at first, just because I like the idea of the Children of the Watch. I like the kind of, they're the broken faction and they're trying to collect all their brethren back together and bring Mandalore back to the way it was. So it's kind of like a very scrappy army. So I like it.
Yeah, we're going to be talking today all about building army lists for Children of the Watch specifically. This is going to be the first in a series of videos where we're going over each of the different subfactions for the Mandalorian clans. Because if you aren't super familiar with how the list building works for Mandalorians, there's a ton of variety of what you can do. You can either build the Mandalorian clans sort of just as a soup, as we call it, a variety of different units, or you can dial in to a given subfaction and sacrifice some unit options in exchange for an added ability on top of all the other like Mandalorian keywords and things that you get. And including one of those is a sort of a custom creed where you can build your own Mandalorian clan and you get to pick from a menu of abilities that your army gets instead of the 2 main abilities, one being like the keyword that unifies all your Mandalorian units, and then sort of that clan affiliation Battleforce ability. So lots to choose from. Army building for this faction is vast. Kevin, I know you've been tinkering around with it, so have I, and it's like, I feel like there's a ton of different ways you can go.
I think I have, and I haven't saved all the lists I've tinkered around with. I think I have like 4 or 5 already saved in my like list profile. So yeah, I mean, you know me. I've been waiting for a Mando army since day one. I finally get it.
Just diving right in. Well, and you actually had a chance to play because you had a chance to play Mandos just this past weekend. We had a local tournament, a 3-round local tournament at Fair Game, our friendly local game store where Kevin and I work. And we both got to play in that event, and you were playing Mandalorians for that.
I played Clan Kryze. I wanted to try their affiliation.
Very cool.
You know, if I was thinking ahead, I should have played Children of the Watch, because then I could have, you know,
talked more about whatever we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. But no, I really wanted to test out Clan Kryze. I wanted to see how the super vigilance worked, and see if it was really, really worth not going Mando soup.
Yeah.
I think it's there. It can be something. I think it takes a lot of practice and proper, I don't know, kind of proper play to it. And so it being my first 3 games with it, I didn't do great. I didn't do horrible. I went 1 and 2, but all 3 games were pretty close.
Nice.
So it was.
What are your broad takeaways for Mandalorians? Just, you know, not necessarily Kryze specific, but how are you feeling about these units?
So I think they're easier for me to kind of understand how to like set up and play, because I think definitely GAR players and even Empire players are going to have a pretty easy time with this army. You are really getting either stormtroopers or clone troopers that are better.
Yeah, in terms of like their stats and stuff.
Yeah, because their speed, their speed 2, their red non-surging saves, which, you know, is kind of bad. You know, a lot of times clone troopers get at least 2 surges because you're probably next to like somebody with a surge or something like that. But you can only do that a couple times before you're facing, you know, non-surging red saves. So you kind of have to like plan for that. But their range 3 guns are a lot better because they're surging to hit.
Yeah. Feels like they got a bit of punch.
I can see why a lot of the tactics give tokens for this army, even though they are surge to block and or surge to hit. It is a lot of black dice in their attack pool, and black dice can be fickle.
Yeah.
You know, you could be completely hitting on one throw and then completely blanking on another throw. You know, that's just kind of how black dice are. And
so those extra aims and stuff help with the consistency, huh?
Yeah, the extra aims help a lot. I had contact in my list, and I really love contact.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I will say it is horrible for my list, though.
Really?
Yeah, and the only reason why I think contact wasn't good for my list is because, and I think I did okay with it because I did have 4 units that were speed 3, which kind of helped out. You know, I had the 2 vets, and then I had Axe Woves and Bo-Katan. So I think the contact was okay, but in my first game, I left contact in play against Nolan, and he was playing Mandalorian soup with the armor, and he had 6 units that got to infiltrate.
Oh my gosh.
And
what? So yeah, contact with infiltrate, like those territories are so huge. You have a lot of places you can put your units.
Yeah, and so he was able to surround me a lot faster, which gave me a lot of problems.
Yeah.
It made it hard for me to push forward into the middle area, especially because we were playing failed negotiations.
Yeah. So you wanted to run towards the center as well.
I wanted to run towards the center, but the problem is I had to put out my veterans before he had to put out his Paz Vizsla unit, and his Paz Vizsla unit came out and just hit me with like 14 dice. Now a 6-man unit managed to live on 2. Okay. But at that point, I had to keep them very hidden and couldn't really strike to the middle. So I just had to kind of not allow him to score an extra point off of it, and for me to try to get his middle or get his his hostage. So it was tough. For my first game, realizing that contact, if somebody has 6 infiltrating units, you do not want to play contact.
No, you really don't. They just have so much better positioning than you do.
Yeah.
And the speed 3 units definitely helped. You know, I have only played contact once, and I was playing a low activation list with a lot of elite units without prepared positions or infiltrate, really, and I just felt like I was very slow and on the back foot and couldn't spread my army out enough to do what I wanted to do. And
sure.
So yeah. But otherwise you had a lot of fun with the Mandalorians.
Yeah, it was Sunday. Super fun. I think a big thing that I have to learn is how to get aims onto my support units a little bit better.
Sure.
I think those fire support teams really want aims. Especially I had one of them with a sniper rifle, and I never got to really use the lethal because it was almost too hard for me to get an aim on them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I had to move and shoot with them.
Right.
So I think that's just a learning curve thing. I think it's just you spend more time with it and you start learning how to position a little bit better with them. But I love them. I think they're going to be a really good army. I don't think they're going to be overpowered. I really don't. I think a lot of people are going to struggle against them at first because they've never seen them before.
Right.
And they just don't know all the tricks and trades of them. I honestly think you're going to see a lot of flamethrowers with them, especially on veterans. I learned very quickly split firing with veterans is really good.
Yeah.
So my 2 Clan Kreese veterans had the micro grenade launcher and a flamethrower on them. So it was a 6-man team with the blast weapon and a flamethrower. So I did it in game 2 and in game 3, where I played their absolutely redonkulous command card, which is weapons are a religion.
Oh yeah.
It gives 3 units they're issued an order with this card gain charge this round, and then every allied Mandalorian trooper weapons gain versatile, like everybody. So
that seems crazy.
If you have other charging units or other units in melee at that time, if you need to shoot out and don't want to move out of the comfort of being kind of in melee, you can do it, which is crazy. And in both game 2 and in game 3, turn 2, I played this card and jumped my vets I jumped at least one of my vets into the middle, and they split fired and flamethrowered one unit and charged and shot the other unit.
Yeah.
And against 2. So in my second game, I played against David, and I played the triple saber, double beef squad. What is it? 212th army.
Yeah.
And he put he kind of secured the middle. We played contact again, and he quickly, because he had his beef squads were infiltrating, and he had the prepared positions with his marksman. I think he ended up flipping contact in the last, and it was just, there was nothing I could do at that point. I played the contact, and he put his beef squads in the middle, and I jumped one of my vets into the middle and charged. So I double moved. So I had 2 aim tokens, and I charged, and so I had the 5. I had 5 red, 5 white, shooting into 1 unit with 2 aims, surge to hit. And then with the extra guy, I flamethrowered the other beef squad. He ended up picking up 11 models out of both shots in that.
Oh,
picked
my
up
God.
6 on the first one and then 5 off of the other one. And it was, I mean, that's pretty devastating to, in a sense, literally just take his whole entire, both beef squads and make them into normal size units, like off of one shot. And I think that's going to be a big thing with Mandalorians. I think you're going to see a lot of split firing. I did it a lot, and it helped. Because you can split fire and still make decent size, like, dice pool. Like, if you really wanted to, you are in range 2 of something that only has like maybe 4 hit points or something like that, and you're a 6-man squad. You can take 3 of them and throw 6 dice at that unit at range 2, and say you have the like shucker and like the range 3 gun. You could take another 3 of them and you can throw 5 dice at another unit, both searching to hit, which is really good.
Yeah.
So I think the split firing is going to be really good when you need it. It's going to be very situational, but I think that's kind of how I feel, to me, how they kind of designed them a little bit. They want you using these weapons. They want you kind of attacking multiple units at the same time.
Yeah,
I think that's something they really want you to do with this army.
And I'm thinking about like those battle scenes that we see in the Mandalorian TV show, where you have these groups of Mandos that are all fighting together, and it's not like a regimented line of E11 blasters from stormtroopers that are just marching forward, right? Like, they're flying in, and this guy's got the flamethrower out, and then these 2 have their blasters, and they're shooting off to the flank, and then you got another guy who pulls out a whipcord or something, and like, they're all attacking different targets, and the stats are on the card about how flexible they are, right? Like, if you're looking at these Clan Kreese veterans, they're veterans, so they've got your range 3 Galar carbine, but then they've also got this melee to 2 pistol that has some more damage output. And that's just 2 weapons on the card. Not to mention that they can take a heavy. They might be able to take like a named character, and then you've got a flamer that they can also take that's in the gear slot. So they've got just like a ton of armaments that I think are, I don't know, not only are they thematic and cool, but also I think you're going to have times when you're taking a 150-point unit and you're attacking 2 or 3 different enemies. I think there's a lot of skill expression there, right? Because you can really manipulate the battlefield on putting suppression where you want, putting damage where you want. So this is an army that I think will benefit from a lot of practice. And so hopefully people have enough fun with them that they want to keep practicing with them.
I mean, I'm already hooked on them. I mean, I knew I was gonna like play them no matter what because I'm a huge Mando fan, but they very much fit into a play style I like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're attacking multiple things. When you need to be in somebody's face, you can be in their face. But if you need to sit back and kind of plink away and hold a position, you can. And the other thing I feel really comfortable with is it doesn't hurt taking the Mando warriors almost naked. Like
Yeah.
I threw the 5-point gun on them. Just because they're already a 5-man squad, they have duelists, they have impervious, and they have long shot with their blaster rifle. So technically, if you really wanted to, you could just aim and shoot once you're in a position with them and not have to worry about it.
Mhm.
And I guess, leading into kind of our big talk today, Children of the Watch, it's going to be even easier getting aims on them so they can move and shoot and do
Yes.
the long shot if they need to.
Yeah.
Because This Is the Way is a amazing, amazing.
It is an amazing keyword.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, finish your thought and then we'll segue.
And that's the thing is like, I played Nolan, and that was the one thing he was able to do in our first game is he had a lot of units that had This Is the Way, but he also had Bo-Katan, who was giving them all Mandalorians are stronger together with the Darksaber. So they were getting aims, and then they were also getting dodges once they used the aims and fired. So it was a really hard army to kind of pick up any units off of as I was shooting them, unless I threw a really big dice pool at them and stuff like that. So I can see This Is the Way is definitely a strong keyword, and especially if you play it properly and get the aims to the units that you need to have units at that time, or the dodges, even the recovery action. I think when custom leaders come out and stuff like that, that one keyword or one upgrade that allows you to use the like your ability more than once. What is that? Is it the Battle Master? Yeah. So the unit gains death from above. The first time each game, this unit would I guess expunge a equipment, weapon, or grenade. The upgrade card is tapped instead. Like, so it's exhausted. And that's, I think This Is the Way with the armor and her recovery is going to be huge with that.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to get to recover right off the bat, use it, also her move 1, which I had to remind Nolan, he used her move 1 and he did it like a speed 1 move, and I was like, you get your full move length, right? And he's like, I do. And it's like, yeah, it just means that 1 unit gets moved.
That's right.
Instead of 2 units get recover. It's a full move. And so yeah, it's really big.
Well, let's start with that. Let's start with the units that you can take in a covert army, and then we'll talk about the This Is the Way keyword. Sure. Because that's kind of the building blocks that we've got, right? So, when you are going to build a Children of the Watch army, you are using the Mandalorian clan's Battleforce, and then if you use the Battleforce, you can choose any characters that you want, any Mandalorian characters, and then each character that you choose then unlocks all the affiliations for their subfaction, right? So if you bring Bo-Katan Kryze, she is a Night Owl, so she is Clan Kryze. If you bring Bo-Katan, then in the Battleforce, you can also bring the Clan Kryze veterans because they are also the matching affiliation. So for Children of the Watch, if you bring the Armorer, for example, or Paz Vizsla or Din Djarin, then you can also bring any Children of the Watch units. Now, if you only bring characters from one affiliation, you unlock the clan affiliation bonus. And so what we're talking about today is if you are only bringing Children of the Watch leaders and therefore only unlocking Children of the Watch units, and thus you're going to unlock that clan affiliation. This is a very thematic way to build an army. Kevin and I agree that probably sort of clan soup and really choosing from all the Mandalorians is probably the most competitively viable, but I also think this is just an army that's going to require a lot of practice. And so if you are really, like, you love Clan Ren, just practice with Clan Ren, and you'll find something that works for you, and you'll find some success that way too. So
yeah, in no way, shape, or form do I not think that they're not competitive. I just think that if you're like technically min-maxing, soup is going to be the easiest to be competitive with. I will definitely say.
yeah.
That's just my opinion, is because a lot of their like the extra keywords kind of very much play well with. I think the majority of soup you're going to see is not so much all the factions. You're going to see Bo-Katan in a lot of the armies with the Darksaber, giving the rest of the army Mandalorians are stronger together. Because this is a faction that really wants to spend aims and dodges. And you can see that just
they're
because
very token-centric.
How many tokens are being being generated and stuff like that. They really want you using aims and dodges.
Yeah. So if you're doing Covert, which is my nickname for Children of the Watch, the nickname, I think people use the term Covert, right, from the show?
Covert. I mean, that's kind of what they were named in the Mandalorian, so that makes sense.
So for commanders, you can play with the Armorer, who is a unique leader, or you can use the custom Mandalorian leader that doesn't release until August, as long as you give them the Champion of the Watch upgrade that changes their affiliation to Children of the Watch. For operatives, you can bring Paz Vizsla, the man, the myth, the tank, the martyr. You can also bring Din Djarin. He's got his own faction now instead of just being a merc for the Empire or Rebels. And then there's also the custom Mandalorian Hunter as an operative, again, as long as you give it the Champion of the Watch upgrade. And then you don't have a ton of other options. So you can bring Mandalorian Initiates, which are a 56-point core unit that have no keywords. Even when you give them the Children of the Watch upgrade, they do not gain any keywords. They just change their affiliation to Children of the Watch. They are I'll talk about their stats as it becomes relevant. You can also bring Mandalorian Warriors. Again, you would give them the Children of the Watch keyword, so it synergizes, or upgrade, so they synergize with all of your faction effects. So it changes their affiliation to Children of the Watch. And then if you give them that keyword, they have This Is the Way, Dodge 1. And then lastly, if you have a unit of warriors, you can bring a detachment of Mandalorian Warriors Fire Support. Similarly, Children of the Watch upgrade to give them that covert affiliation. And then they will gain This Is the Way, Aim 1 for the Fire Support Warriors. So, kind of a limited roster. 5 possible characters, 3 possible units, and that is it. Let's talk about the This Is the Way keyword. Kevin, you were talking about that earlier. You want to tell us what This Is the Way does?
So, This Is the Way. When an allied unit with this This Is the Way keyword is issued an order, choose up to X other allied Children of the Watch units within range 2 of that unit. Each chosen unit performs the action listed by the unit that was issued the orders. This Is the Way keyword is a free action. A lot of soup there.
Yeah, word salad.
It's a word salad. No, but pretty much what it means is when you issue a unit an order, I shouldn't say any unit. At the minimum, one unit with the maximum of 2 that we know of so far can do a certain keyword that is on the unit that was issued the order. So if I give an order to the armor has, this is the way, move 1, or recover 2. So I could either have one unit make a full move action, so you get your full speed. It just means that only one unit can move, so you'll get a full move action. Or 2 units can recover. Now, this is nice if you have an equipment that needs to be recovered. If you're maybe using improvised orders, this is nice because this is a way of getting improvised orders to refresh now instead of you having to use the recover action. So that's, I mean, that's really nice upgrade for them.
Free actions at the start of the round is pretty wild. It's related to who you give orders to. So obviously giving out orders in this subfaction is really important, but it's a very powerful effect. Importantly, it has to be other units that didn't, trigger off of that order, right? So the armorer can't move herself.
No, it is another unit. I will say that Din Djarin is part of the Children of the Watch faction, but he does not have a "this is the way" keyword on him.
Interesting. So, in fact, he is independent, which means that he gets tokens if you don't give him orders.
Yeah, so I still think Din Djarin really wants to operate without an order, unless you really, really need him to activate, which I think is kind of nice because it's going to make you have a lot of command cards with these armies, and so I think it's going to make it easier for you to decide what cards to take, because you're maybe not going to take as many of Din's cards in this one because you want to be giving out more orders to get more "this is the way" to fire off. Yeah. And he's already going to get an aim dodge, so I think that's pretty nice if you take him.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of turns where like you play Paz Vizsla's 1 pip. So you give Paz an order, his "this is the way" triggers. Din Djarin doesn't get an order, so then his independent triggers, and you're going to be handing out, a bunch of aims at the start of the round, and I think that's going to feel pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So, I'll read off the affiliation bonus as well. So if you are if you are only doing covert units, then you get a clan affiliation benefit, which is in the Battleforce document. So I'm going to pull that up right now. If you are only doing Children of the Watch, your army may include any number of Mandalorian initiate units, but otherwise must still follow the Battleforce's rank requirements. So normally in Mandalorian clans, you only get up to 2 initiates, which is your cheapest unit that you can bring generally. So this unlocks additional, but you can still only have up to 6 core total. Also, when a Mandalorian initiate unit equips a unique personnel upgrade, reduce the cost of that upgrade by 5 points. So the Armorer, Paz Vizsla, and Din Djarin not only are character units that you can take, but they are also unit upgrades in the personnel slot. And when you equip them in initiates, they become cheaper. So Paz is normally a 40-point upgrade, but he gets reduced to 35 if you put him in an initiate squad. So we can talk about what those upgrades do as it comes about, but I want to kind of go over these 3 building block units, because obviously we get access to 5 different characters, but really the bulk of our army is going to be these different squads here. And in order to understand Covert, I think we got to understand these squads. So Mandalorian initiates are a 5-man core unit squad. They have 1 health each with red saves, 1 courage, and then they have surging attack black dice. Their blaster rifles are range 1 to 2 long shot with the black dice, and then their vibro blades and melee are just surging black dice. They have no keywords, and like I said, the Children of the Watch upgrade does not give them any keywords, so they gain nothing. Kevin, what's your impression of initiates?
I think they're a cheap filler unit. I honestly, unless you're going to be building, and this is just my first opinion on it, and I could, something could change and go completely different. I think that this is going to end up being a filler unit. I think most of the time you're going to see Mandalorian warriors, just because you get a little bit more keywords. You get the impervious, you get the jump 2, you get the duelist, all for 13 more points. I think it's kind of worth it at that point.
Only 8 more points.
Sorry. Yeah, so never mind. Yeah, I thought my mathing wasn't mathing.
That's all right.
So 8 more points. Man, that's crazy.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, it's pretty good. I think that you are definitely probably, like I said, probably going to take Mandalorian warriors. Now, that being said, I think there might be something to the beef squads, just because that's a decent size, surge to hit squad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's 9, and
yes.
doesn't the
9
document
bodies
say? Yeah, 9 bodies. So I honestly though think what is it? Oh no, never mind. I don't know. I'm not really sure what they were kind of designed for. I think they were maybe given to us for the beef squads. Even with even with you taking like Paz and a heavy, I don't know if it's worth it. 8 more points and you could get, in my opinion, a better unit.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah. I think so. Mandalorians are all very expensive, which means that your army is going to have pretty low activations. So it's similar to like sometimes you just throw like marksman or naked clone infantry into a Republic army just because you need to get to like double-digit activations, and you're like, all right, you're just going to stand on objectives. And so initiates are going to be that unit for the Mandalorian clans, and you can actually bring 3 or 4 of them if you want in a covert army instead of just 2. If you're not just bringing them naked as activation padding, then you can definitely bring them as the beef squads. That's 101 before the heavy, 101 points. So it's a lot of bodies to chew through. I actually think that's going to be more common in the other sub-factions because you're kind of incentivized to bring more initiates in covert, especially because you can throw a Din or an armorer or a Paz in those squads for a little bit better value. So, that being said, we're going to get to some command cards, and you are going to be able to infiltrate with 2 of your squads. So being able to infiltrate with a beef squad, 10 models if you include the heavy, with some initiates, I think is potentially quite good. So builds for this one for me is either no upgrades at all, just Children of the Watch, or I would do a beef squad with the micro grenade launcher. So this is a range 2 blast weapon with cycle. So basically it's throwing a big dice pool that ignores cover. At range 2, you don't need an aim at range 2 to get the long shot then. So you're just kind of trying to move your initiates up the board. Maybe they lose a couple models on the way in, but then they still, have a big blast hit. Or I think, in this Battleforce, you can do the Paz squad with the Shucker. And I don't know what you think about this, but this is the Paz Vizsla upgrade, which is a ranged 3 overwhelm attack pool with 6 dice. Then you're putting on the Shucker, which is a range 3 weapon with overwhelm. Actually, I think you get overwhelm from both weapons then. So that doesn't stack. But point being is if you have an aim from somewhere, then you're giving out an extra suppression when you attack stuff. I guess you could split fire, and if you had multiple aims, you could then, like, Paz shoots 1 target with overwhelm, puts out 2 suppression. The Shucker and the rest of the squad shoots a different target, overwhelm, 2 suppression. That's kind of cool. This whole squad is 5, 6, 7 models for 119, or actually I would consider putting on offensive push for 125. And then if you ever get a recover from maybe the Armorer's This Is the Way or a command card, then you're getting multiple aims throughout the course of the game from your offensive push. So that's kind of where I'm thinking with that. I'm sure there's ways that you can build it with the Din or the Armorer as well. But
sure. I think, honestly, you're going to see a lot of Paz as a operative. He's decent. His cost is pretty high. 105 points for a 5 hit point unit. Yeah,
he's got those surging reds.
He has steady. Yeah, he surges to hit. He's steady. He has overwhelm. So, I mean, you can still aim, move, shoot, which is really nice. I think you're going to see a lot more Paz in units, though. I think that's where you're going to see him the most.
You like him more in the unit?
Yeah, I think the 40 point. I mean, it's still expensive. 40 point upgrade.
It's only 35 if you put him in. If you put him in the initiate squad with the Shucker.
Yeah, I think. I think you're going to see him. I think you'll probably see him a lot in support units since they're already 55 points instead of 64 points. You'll see him in there, probably with the Shucker. I think he's actually pretty good with the sniper rifle too, because now you're giving this big dice pool a Pierce 1, in a sense, with the lethal.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that could be pretty nice. But you need the aim for it. So that's where it would come into play, where offensive push would probably be good. I think you're going to see a lot of people playing him that way. It's a pretty good unit.
Well, let's segue into Warriors, because you said a minute ago that you think Warriors are going to be more common. I also agree. I think for 8 points more, just the keywords you get out of Warriors are really good. So, Mandalorian Warriors are 64 points base, again for 5 models, red saves. You're up to Courage 2 instead of Courage 1, and then still surging attacks on the long shot blaster rifles or range 2 long shot. Vibroblades in melee, you add a surging white die now. So in melee, they're significantly better than initiates just on dice. Plus, they have 3 keywords: action to jump 2, duelist, and impervious. Impervious reduces incoming pierce by 1, and then duelist is a killer keyword, one of the best in the game, I think. So if you reroll dice with an aim on your duelist unit, it gains pierce 1, and if you spend a dodge while defending, you gain immune pierce.
Only in melee, yeah.
Really good keywords. Obviously, jump increases their mobility a whole lot. Impervious is going to be very relevant as we continue to expand out in the game and the number of piercing weapons increases. And duelist, like I said, I'm a huge fan of. What do you think about the Warriors unit in general, and then in Covert, Kevin?
I think they are really going to be the backbone of this army. I mean, in most core units kind of, sometimes are.
Yeah.
But they really, especially for coverts, I think they're really going to carry this army. I think for Children of the Watch, if you're doing pure Children of the Watch. I feel, I can't even think of the affiliation.
Yeah.
Warriors are going to be a huge part of your army.
Yeah,
Just because that's all you kind of have right now.
Yeah. You get this is the way dodge 1. So if you give your warriors orders, they get to hand out a free dodge to somebody else.
Yeah. And I think you can easily get 10 activations with them, no problem, using multiple different ways of using several Mandalorian warriors and the fire support team, because then you also get the fire support unit. And the other reason why I think you're going to see a lot of Mandalorian warriors in the Covert faction, especially if you're going pure Covert affiliation, the armor's card, I think it's the armor's card, right? Or is it Out of the Shadows that give it? No, you're going to do Out of the Shadows, which you divulge and choose up to 2 allied units. Those chosen units have infiltrate. So then you give 2 of the regular Mandalorian warriors infiltrate, which then also gives 2 of the support units infiltrate.
Right. And that's because of the detachment keyword on the support units.
Yes.
Correct.
And then you'll also, and so I think that's going to be really, really big for a lot of their, a lot of the units. I think you'll see a lot of that happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is huge. And, not to, I won't talk about it now. We'll talk about it when we get to the soup faction of it. So
for sure.
But yeah, so you're gonna see a lot of infiltrating Mandalorian warriors with coverts. You're gonna always be getting 4 of them for sure, which is like giant.
For
especially since
like 2 warriors, 2 fire supports is what you're thinking.
Yeah, you're gonna get 2 warriors and 2 fire supports infiltrating. I mean, there's no reason for you not to divulge that card. Yeah,
it's basically an affiliation bonus that's not part of the Battleforce, right? It's like you get this command card just by bringing at least 2 covert units. So
yeah, and so
yeah.
I think you're gonna see that a lot, which is giant. I think that's gonna be really good for them.
So, I think. So let's assume that you're going to bring 2 warriors with every covert list because they're really good infiltration targets. I said that you could also infiltrate your beef initiates, and that's an option. But if you're infiltrating 2 warriors, so that you actually get 2 warriors and 2 fire support teams, all infiltrating. I think you might want to give them those Galar 15 carbines. So that's basically upgrades their ranged weapon from range 2 long shot to just range 3 for 5 points. That increases your threat range, which means that your infiltrate jump is potentially going to be even more likely to hit something. A little bit more alpha strikey. Even if you're playing stuff like contact or other objectives where your deployment zones are really big, you might even be able to peekaboo with them, where you drop them in, first action shoot, second action move behind a building to like hide. I think you'll be able to do that sometimes. And so if you're going to do that, you give them the range 3 guns, then I think you want to give them a range 3 heavy. So that would be your Shucker repeater for the regular Mandalorians. So that's 97 points for the carbines and the Shucker. It's a 6-man squad that throws, let's see, the Shucker is 3 black and then 5 guys. So 8 black surging. And if you got them at top of the round aim with This Is the Way, maybe you gave Paz like an order and he gives out 2 aims, right? then they infiltrate in, they shoot with an aim that triggers the overwhelm on the shucker. So now you're giving out 2 suppression with that shot. And then second action, you hide behind a building, and that's a really strong opening play, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The only thing I sometimes debate on when I've been looking at these lists is, do they really need the Galar carbine? And the only reason why I say that is they already have long shot built in. And this is the way, there's plenty of ways of getting aims if you really need them to be range 3 at the top of the round with This Is the Way. Then if you're looking anywhere to save points, I think you can take the 5 points off the Galar of the Warriors, and you really won't need it, just because you can get the long shot aim on them.
Yeah, and now if you trigger long shot with an aim, you don't get the overwhelm to trigger from the shucker.
No.
Rules wise, that's because the overwhelm keyword says if you spend an aim during the dice reroll step, with long shot you're spending it when you declare targets, so it's a different step in the sequence. So you'll see that again with duelist as well, or lethal. You're spending those aims at different times. So overwhelm's just if you spend the aim to reroll. So there you go.
Yeah, especially on a ranged shot. So yeah. I mean, I think you're right. If you're going to take the shucker, you take the Galar, because you don't want to waste their aim on a range 3 shot. 100%. I agree with that.
Generally speaking, I also think Warriors are really good with the micro grenade launcher, just as a way to get some extra dice. It's a cycle heavy, so this is kind of like my go-to build for Mandalorian Warriors if you're going to like charge them up the board, right? So they charge up maybe round 2, they get their range 2 shot off with the micro grenade launcher, you're ignoring cover, it's pretty good. And then the next round, they actually move into melee. You could even give them charge with that Mandalorian 3-pip, the weapons are our religion. And those Mandalorian warriors, like I said, do roll 2 dice in melee, a black-white surging. So that's a good use of warriors as well. But you can use that in any Mandalorian clan. Yeah.
Yeah. I put the grenade launcher on the vets during the tournament, and I think the grenade launcher is great on the vets, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you already have the range 3 gun. They're speed 3, so a lot of times you're going to spend time in the range 2 band with them, especially since they search the block, so you feel a little bit more comfortable about moving them up. This also gives a good way of you removing somebody's cover who's hiding behind cover. I think I think the speed 3 vets, I think the micro grenade launcher is probably a little bit better on. That being said, I like them on the warrior. If you're looking to get an extra body and you want to do it the cheap way, I think the micro grenade launcher is the better way of doing it. This also frees up 6 points. So if you want to do the micro grenade launcher, it's easier for you to put the range 3 gun Galar on them. Usually you want the range 3 gun with the shucker, just because then you're getting extra dice in the overwhelm. But this gives you kind of that initial pop when you come on the board, possibly maybe getting a range 3 shot. And then once you get into your range 2 band, you're getting blast on every shot, which is pretty nice.
Right.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it can definitely change the way certain things, because it's kind of RNG. I mean, that could be a big difference. I mean, you could roll 10 heavy cover dice and possibly get 10 saves. So
right. And there's always those times when your opponent spikes on defense, on cover saves, right?
Yeah. So
It happens.
I don't think blast is huge anymore, but I think it's still really good.
Right.
So I think the range 2 gun is not a problem on the Warriors.
Yeah.
I honestly, that being said, you upgrading them like this, I have no problem taking Warriors naked.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, they have 3 really good keywords. They're already a 5-man unit. You have long shots, so if you need that range 3 ban, you can.
Yep. Like I say, good in melee.
Yeah,
So
they're good.
with duelist, right? Like you can charge them into you can take your warriors, charge into Vader, and then if you can activate them before Vader goes again, then you just like dodge punch, and now you're immune pierce. Yeah, you lock down 200 points of Vader with your 64 point.
With a 64 point unit.
Yeah. I mean, warriors are crazy flexible, right?
Yeah, and as a GAR fan, AMG, if you listen to our podcast, please take a closer look at ARC Troopers. When Mandalorian Warriors are 64 points with a surge to hit, long shot, so they have a range 3 gun, and duelist.
And an extra dude.
Yeah, an extra dude. Can we possibly take a look at ARC Troopers again and maybe see if they could come down in points?
Yeah. I will say this. I think, not to tangent, I think ARCs were very good with the original objectives for second edition, because between like bunker assault, close the pocket, breakthrough, I think there's a lot of objectives where your close range fighters are good and that you can clump up. And then they just released Battle Pack 2, which has contact and a bunch of other objectives where your payload, like you spread out across the whole board, and clones in general get less good when you spread them out because they can't share tokens. So the value of that token sharing goes down a little bit. So I agree. I think arcs can come down, and I think that will help Gar get an extra activation. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts about clones.
That's our Gar change. No, and that's why I think it's okay that the Covert or the Children of the Watch don't have vets, because Warriors are still so good.
Warriors are still really good.
So good. Yeah. And on top of that, you get, when you take the regular Mandalorian Warriors, you have an option of taking a 55-point support unit.
Right.
With the Mandalorian fire support team.
Right.
And they have really good keywords.
You get the impervious and the jump 2. Instead of duelist, you get sharpshooter 1. That's actually what they did with Wookiees. Like melee Wookiees have duelist, ranged Wookiees have sharpshooter 1. They did the same thing here.
Yes.
They're a detachment, so you have to take Mandalorian Warriors to unlock the fire support team. And you said they're 55 points. They are a heavy weapon team, which means that they are required to take a heavy weapon. So if you took them with the grenade launcher for the cheapest option, they start at 77.
77 points. But that's still a pretty good unit.
It's pretty good. They have the built-in range 3 Galar carbine. So
yes.
So they're a minimum range 3 unit. I actually, for that reason, I'm not sure I like the micro grenade on them as much.
No, I think the Shucker is kind of the way to go with them.
That's a range 3 gun. They're 83 points with the Shucker. They with Children of the Watch, they also have This Is the Way aim 1. So when you give your fire support team aims, that's how you can get aims on your other units, like if you want them on your warriors, for example. Also limited to the fire support team is the Galar 90 sniper rifle, which is a range 4 lethal gun. I like this gun on paper. It does make the fire support squad 90 points for 5 models, and only one of them can hit at only range 4 with a red-black lethal 1. surging. So
Yeah. I
this is not a sniper
took
team, and I keep wanting to make it a sniper team, and it's way overcosted if all you're going to do is roll 2 dice lethal 1 all day.
Yeah. I think the 35 points is a little high for them. I have a feeling eventually we may see this come down in points. I took 1 in my army just to have a range 4 pop if I needed to. I wish the sniper rifle maybe had 1 extra keyword like high velocity for the 35 points.
Yeah.
I think if it had high velocity, it would have been probably worth the 35 points just to split fire and maybe pop at something that has dodge tokens on it and you just want to plink away at it, or even kind of using it to plink at a Jedi or a Force user, anybody with a lightsaber that's
deflect. Yeah.
That has deflect. So
yeah. That would have been a nice toolbox thing for this faction to have access to, which they don't otherwise, right? So like dodges can potentially shut down Mandalorians reasonably well. So that said, the sniper rifle team, let me do the math on this, is 5 models, it's 5 black and a red. I'm going to go over to our Legion dice calculator. So it's 5 black and a red, search to hit, and sharpshooter 1. So you're averaging 4 hits at range 3. And then if you throw the pierce on there, you're averaging almost 3 wounds. So, it's probably very consistent, but 3 wounds, technically less than 3 wounds on average into red saves is like, I don't know if that's 90 points.
Yeah, I feel you with that. 100%
I guess
with that.
Defense-wise, they're still good, but
yeah. Especially right now at the beginning, you're gonna see a lot of other Mandalorian armies, so the Pierce 1 is never really gonna be a thing. I mean, let's do the fire support. You're doing the range 3 band again. You have the Shucker and offensive push. That's 89 points.
So we lose our red die, but we gain 2 black. So the whole pool is 7 attack, or 7 black dice. No pierce. So you're pushing Sharpshooter 1. So you're pushing
and an aim token.
Oh, and an aim token. So you're pushing 2.5 wounds and 2 suppression instead of 3 wounds. For the same amount of points, I think that feels pretty good. And I think either of these is a good infiltrate target, right? We talked about giving your 2 warriors, 2 strike teams, 2 fire support teams infiltrate, because now you're doing this 4 times, right? You have your 2 warriors drop in, they shoot at range 3 with a move, either to get to range 3 or move to hide after the shot. And then your fire support teams are doing the same thing, and you're potentially pushing through 12 wounds if you get hits, average 3 wounds through each attack. I mean, that's pretty good from just your back line. That's not your characters at all.
Yeah, and I think that that's why I have no problem that they right now, because they're fresh. You just have these kind of the 2 Mandalorian warriors are kind of like the units that you have, for this army, because they're really good units and versatile. You can use them in a lot of different ways with the weapons. I honestly don't know if we're gonna see a lot of different types of Mando units, like trooper wise. I honestly think their big thing is going to be weapon upgrades.
100%.
I think that's what we're going to see a lot more, because I truly believe that they kind of nailed it with these 2 units. with the
Yeah.
Mandalorian warriors and the fire support team. I
It's a
think
really
they
good
really
design.
yeah, they're really good design. They're not crazy overpowered in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
they're really good. They're stronger than some other units that are out there that could probably use some love in the game. Um, but they are your backbone of this army that is really going to carry this army the most.
Yeah.
And when that's something that you're kind of taking the most of, you kind of want that.
Right.
You know, it especially with, I think we're going to get a lot of new players with this army. It's going to be a little bit forgiving because you have decent core units and decent support units, that if you mess up with your hero and lose your hero, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
So,
because it's not just a backline of a bunch of B1s or crappy stormtroopers that are just going to get mowed over. You know, you have such
right.
impact with your troops. So then, last thing to talk about with warriors, you can bring the Din Djarin, Paz Vizsla, or armor upgrades in either of these squads. I'll just read what those upgrades do right now, but then I want to know if any of them jump out to you. Because you could probably mess around with any of them in any of these, but probably some fit better than others. So we'll start with Din. As an upgrade, he's 30 points. He can only go in Children of the Watch units. And then once per round, when this unit is chosen as a target of the This Is the Way keyword, it gains a surge. So if you're giving the Din squad tokens from This Is the Way, you also get a surge token on top of it. And then he's got a range to melee to 2 lethal blaster. The Paz Vizsla upgrade gains This Is the Way aim 1, or the unit that he's in gains This Is the Way aim 1, and then he carries the same weapon that he does on his unit card, so it's a range 1 to 3 overwhelm repeating blaster with 6 dice.
And he's 2 hit points.
And he's 2 hit points. That's a good point. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And then the armorer increases the courage value of the unit by 1 and gains reliable 2, so you're surging on defense now. She only has a melee weapon. It's the hammer and tongs for 4 dice, pierce 1, not even lethal. So it's a pretty chewy melee weapon. What's your pick for where you would put one of these upgrades in terms of these Mandalorian troops?
So I think Paz fits in very nicely in both Mandalorian warriors and Mandalorian fire support.
Yeah, range 3.
I think we did the math already. He averages more I think hits or more wounds in the
fire
support team. Yeah.
So you lose
So you get
1 black die by putting him in the fire support team, but you gain sharpshooter 1. That was the difference.
Yeah, and that was the difference and then so it averages pretty much around the same. I think you're going to possibly get more wounds out of the sharpshooter 1 most of the time. I think it's still both really, really good. So that's why I think you can have him in either one that you want. I think he fits better as a unit upgrade, just me personally. That being said, he's still really good by himself with the steady, the same range 3 gun, same dice pool. I wish for his points, and this is just me being greedy, I'll be honest. I wish for his points he was 6 hit points.
You're talking about the unit?
Just because, yeah, just the unit.
Yeah.
Just because he's supposed to be a beefy, like hold the front line Mando.
Yeah.
You know, he's not speed 3. He's kind of slow.
He gives himself wounds from his command card. We'll talk about that in a minute, but
yeah.
it definitely is like a hard cap on like how much you can get out of him on his command card. So
Yeah.
it's kind of wish he could squeak out a little bit more there for sure.
Yeah, tank a little bit more. I mean, that being said, you can put the shield on him, but still, I think he should have been 6 hit points. That's just me personally.
For sure.
Being a little greedy with him.
I agree that Paz fits in the either warriors or fire support squads.
Sure.
For Din and the armorer, I don't like him in the fire support. I think you want your fire support guys to be further back generally.
Yes.
So I think Din and the armorer, both have decent melee weapons, and so putting them in the warriors that also have a good melee profile, I think is really good. Din probably synergizes the most, at least with his weapon pool, with the warriors, and then the armorer I might be more inclined to put in the initiates. Well, I don't know. I guess I was thinking that like Din's range 2, you throw him in with a grenade launcher in the warriors. It's 116 points, and now your range 2 pool is really good, and then you charge in, and the whole time he's flexible. You can shoot at range 2. You can fight in melee. That feels pretty synergistic. But it's a squad where you want to be feeding it orders, or sorry, you want to be feeding it tokens from This Is the Way.
And so. I think the upgrades are really, I think the upgrade personnel are really good. Like
they are good.
They're also they're really good in soup too. I can see like a lot of once the custom leaders come out, I can, even if you want to do affiliation, clan affiliation, I can see a Mandalorian leader being played and a lot of these other like units being like slid into the personnel slots.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right. I think Din and the armor definitely want to be in your warriors because they want that duelist. Especially the armor with the Pierce 1. That's now going to get Pierce 2.
Oh, that's so good.
So, and Din gives lethal 1. So now if you are charging in, you're now getting a, I think you have to spend 2 aims at that point. Because I think, so you got to spend 1 for the lethal, and then you got to reroll or spend 1 for the
reroll into duelist,
reroll to get Pierce 2. Now, if you have 2 aims on them, that's not a problem, especially with This Is the Way, and then maybe moving and, getting the charge off with the charge card or something like that. You have ways, you can put off some push, right? It's only a 100 point unit. It's 100 points, and now you have a Pierce 2 offensive push, 6 hit point Din Djarin.
Yeah.
So,
with Pierce 2 on the attack pool.
With Pierce 2. So it's not a bad way of kind of weaving some of these characters in, depending on how you want to play. And especially with the Mandalorian leaders being kind of cheap, you can just use one of them and put the characters in other, Mandalorian warrior areas.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about some list building in a minute. I think it's going to be actually hard to put these upgrades into these units in a covert army because you're going to want to bring them as regular like character units, like commanders or operatives. But you're right that in soup, like that, it seems pretty juicy, right? You bring like armorer to unlock covert and soup, and then you have like a Din Djarin warrior unit, a Paz Vizsla warrior unit, and then 2 fire supports, and you infiltrate with all 4.
Right.
That's like a cool little like 5 unit, half of your army that's like got a lot of Pierce, and you're using This Is the Way between them to get different effects, and
it's pretty good.
Let's talk about these actual units now that we we've pretty thoroughly talked about the squads that are going in your army. So let's talk about the characters themselves. Well, I guess we'll start with the armorer because she's the commander of the hour. She's 120 points. Light? I mean, seriously, like she's a monster. She's so good, and I love that she is so good. That makes me very happy.
Right.
So she's 120 points, 6 health, 3 courage, and Beskar saves, surging red with impervious. She does not surge on offense, but she has reliable 1. And then other keywords, she's got jump 2 for mobility as well as charge. And then she has aid covert. So if she gets tokens, she can take a suppression to pass the tokens off to other Children of the Watch. And then her monstrous hammer and tongs attack pool, 3 red, 3 black, crit 1, impact 2, pierce 1. What are you thinking for, what's your impression of the armorer, and what are some upgrades you would take on her?
I think inspiring presence is not a bad thing to put on her.
Yeah, range 4 on that courage 3 bubble, legit.
On the courage 3 bubble, I mean, if you're looking at like just kind of the command slots, I think inspiring presence is good. Lead by example is not a bad thing. To get inspire 2, I don't think that's a terrible upgrade on her.
Yeah.
Depending on if you're playing in soup, underworld connections and vigilance isn't a bad thing if you're taking her.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to take bow. This is a way of keeping some of those Mandalorians are stronger together tokens.
With vigilance, yeah.
But yeah, by keeping those dodges and stuff like that with the vigilance, I think is pretty good. I
think my hot pick for her and really anyone covert is seize the initiative in the training slot. So once per game, she gives herself an order, which is then going to trigger This Is the Way, meaning that you can play a command card from somebody else, Din, Paz, or otherwise, and then you can still trigger This Is the Way to get that move, right? So like imagine playing Din's his 1 pip or his 2 pip. So you like 1 pip gives him relentless, right? Then you also do seize the initiative. That triggers her This Is the Way, move 1. So you use move 1 on Din, who's speed 3 because he's got his jetpack. So it gets a top of the round speed 3 move. And then it's a 1 pip. You get to go first. And then Din double moves with relentless. So he's got 3 speed 3 moves into a charge, which is like wild, you know?
Yeah, it's really good.
So I really like seize on her, and then, you know, the Mandos have access to all this cool gear. She's a melee attacker, so I think flame projector or whipcord is probably pretty good on her.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that. If you're gonna play her aggressively, I don't mind tenacity on her. I mean, then you're getting 4 red, 3 black, because moving into being aggressive, she's going to get shot. Critical 1, impact 2, pierce 1. That's, I mean, pretty, with the reliable.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a
1 surge is a crit. A 2nd surge is a hit from a reliable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a monstrous pool. And then you whipcord him so that they can't leave melee and she doesn't get shot again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she is for her points 120. You put tenacity on her. She's a monster. I think you're right. I think whipcord is really good on her.
Yeah.
I think any of the units that you're gonna bring into melee, I think the 5-point whipcord is pretty good. Yeah, it sucks that you're having to use an action, but with the armor you have charge, so I think it's okay to put the whipcord on her. I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, because you can move into melee and get your free charge attack, and then spend your second action to whipcord.
Yeah.
And we called her Vader Light. Well, let's talk about. She has a command card. She has 2 command cards. So her 2-pip is both Hunter and Prey, and this is very similar to Vader's Implacable. So it gives an order to her and one other unit, so you still get to trigger this as the way off of a second unit, which is awesome. And then she can suffer a wound to shuffle her order token back into the stack after she activates, and then she'll get to activate a second time that round, but she makes 1 fewer action. So, I mean, really good for just beat stick stuff. But I'm trying to think if there's other, like, special synergies about things that she can do during her second activation.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things. Even like you said, you just put the whipcord on her, and she just whipcords the second time.
Yeah,
So
legit.
But yeah, there's so many things. But I think with her charge, I think your goal is to move in, kill something. And here's where I say tenacity isn't bad on her. You move into a unit that's already halfway dead, right? You move in with your first turn, say you aim move or something, and hit them and you kill them. Now, your second turn, you now have tenacity and you can move in and hit something with a bigger, like, that has more hit points or something like that.
So she punches him down but stays in melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, with charge, she can move, punch. That's true.
Yeah, and or the other thing too is you can, if you really had to, you could put the whipcord on her, move into, say, like Vader or something, right? Or a Jedi or some big unit that needs to be tied down. You move in, you hit him, maybe taking off 2 wounds or something like that. You whipcord, then you take a damage to throw her token into the bag, and then you activate her again and just swing away again. So, and that unit couldn't move anywhere. It had to stay put with you. So,
yeah,
I think it's
she seems
really
fun.
good card.
You can make her a beat stick.
Yeah,
but I think you can also play her kind of supporty, right? And that's what her 3-pip is. We shape ourselves. So first of all, when you're bringing the armor, you divulge this card, and then you can choose one of 2 effects. Either 2 Children of the Watch units gain cash aim, or 2 Children of the Watch units gain cash dodge. So it's one way you can get more tokens. We talked about the warriors wanting a first turn aim, potentially. This is one way they can get that. When you play it, it gives the armor and 2 units orders. So you could also play this round 1 if you wanted to trigger a bunch of This Is the Way effects. But I would actually probably save it, because the turn that you play it, it says when a unit is issued an order with this card, you can make a recover action. And aside from just helping you manage suppression, I think getting back offensive push in this army is really nice. I mean, this is crazy, right? Because you can give the armorer an order, and she has This Is the Way recover 2. So you give 2 units recovers. She gets to recover. And then you give 2 other orders with this card who also get recovers. So you get 5 recovers potentially off of this one card at the top of the round. There's some crazy stuff that could happen with that.
It is really good. I really like her. When you hear people talk about a linebacker unit, she's that unit. She is 100% a linebacker unit for this army. And she is able to kind of call out plays in a sense, support the unit, giving out, you have, your command slots. So, like, there's so many different ways of playing her. I think she's really good just as a Mandalorian in general.
Yeah.
I think she fits nicely into the Covert army. I think a lot of times you're not going to see her in units. You're just going to see her.
Yeah.
As herself. She is kind of pricey, but I think that's okay for as much stuff as she can do.
Yeah.
I think that's not a problem.
Last thing I'll call out is if you really wanted to lean into that support side because she's got that aid keyword, you could do something like you play that 3-pip and you give the armorer an order, and then you give your 2 warrior fire supports. You give your 2 fire supports orders. Then you get to resolve all those effects. So you do this is the ways, and you give those aims to the armorer, who then immediately aids them to something else. And that would let you get aims from your warriors up to range 2 to the armorer, and then up to range 2 up the board to like frontline warrior units or something. And kind of throw aims down the board. And then I'd have to look at the timing, but you might be able to recover after that to get the suppression off from the aids you just did.
Right. But she's already Courage 3, so 2 suppression on her is not huge, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. I think she's really good. She fits into, like, she is everything I wanted from her. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And AMG is usually really good at making characters, and I think they did a great job here with her. Yeah. For sure.
Well, let's talk about another great character that they made. It's Paz Vizsla, the Proud Warrior. He is a monster. So he's an operative. Only 5 health, surging red saves, 3 courage, and surging to attack. He's got that iconic repeating blaster, which is a range 3, 6 dice overwhelm weapon. He's also got a not bad melee attack with the vibro knife. So it's 2 red, 2 white, surging, pierce 1. And then he's got field commander. So you could just run a Paz Vizsla led force, throw the armorer into a unit. And that's one way you could build your army. He's got jump 2 and steady for mobility, so he can definitely move and then shoot, or double move shoot, or aim move shoot. Impervious on the defense, and then this is the way aim 2. When he gets an order, 2 friendly other units get aims. What's your take on Paz, and how are you building him?
He's really good. I think we kind of already touched on it. For the 105 points, I kind of wish he was maybe 6 hit points. I get that he probably maybe should come up a little bit more. But that being said, the way dice pools are and stuff like that, and then I think his command card also takes wounds, right? He only has 1 command card, I believe, right?
He does. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go. There are too many. That's his command card. It says permanent. This card may only be selected if Paz Vizsla is within 2 or more enemy units. Paz changes his courage to null and gains 1 standby token. Gains stationary, and his weapon gains versatile. Additionally, when Paz Vizsla spends a standby token after the effect is resolved, he may suffer 1 wound. If he does, he gains 1 standby token. This is a way of cheating the system of constantly having standby tokens.
Yeah.
Now, this is a really unique and fun card. I think play-wise, it's very hard to get this to work properly, but could be a monster.
Yeah. Right. If you get Paz close enough to the enemy, right? Normally, Overwatch is only range 2, or standby tokens are only range 2. And so the idea is that your opponent activates a unit, they do whatever. Paz then spends the standby to shoot the unit that just did something, and then he gains another standby token by taking a wound. But the opponent has to be at range 2 of him. So the idea, right, is that he's just like constantly shooting at dudes until he dies, which is extremely epic. I think. So a couple key things about this, right? His courage goes to null, which means he can't gain suppression tokens, meaning that you can't shoot off the standbys.
Yes.
And then he gains stationary, so he can't move the rest of the game. All he's going to do is just last stand, shoot. I guess if your opponent ignores him, then he's just standing there in future rounds without standbys. But, I mean, I don't know. That's not bad. And then importantly, he gains versatile, so he can shoot even if your opponent tries to stymie him by charging into melee.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think this is, This is kind of, you give him the order, and you don't activate him until he's like, you hope that he dies. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to activate him because he's going to stop getting the standbys. Unless you activate him and, like, move and standby, sure, that's okay.
Well, but he's stationary once you play the card, though.
Oh, yeah, he is stationary. I forgot. So yeah, because you can't shoot and standby with this card, even. So you kind of give him the order, and he's just kind of going to stay there the whole time with the order out, and you're never going to use it until, if he survives until the last round, and he's going to get maybe one shot off, left.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you can get the dream scenario of, like, getting, like, multiple attacks off and then activating him while he's got, like, one life left. Or 1 health left, and then he makes his final shot of the round because you're not taking any more standbys or wounds to trigger that, and then I don't know. As far as loadout goes, he's got 2 training slots and 2 gear slots. So I think you take Overwatch and you make it a range 3 bubble for his command card, right?
Yeah, I think Overwatch definitely has to go on him. I think you're completely right on that. Especially if you're planning on using it. I think E-Stims is not a bad thing on him.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because the E-Stims is insurance for if he does get shot. I mean, technically, I guess you can also deal himself the wound and put it on emergency stims, right? And then after he activates, then he takes that wound. But I really think emergency stims is there so that when your opponent says, screw this, and they, like, shoot him with Cassian fleets or something, and he takes 4 wounds, you're like, well, I'll go down to 1, put 2 wounds on the E-Stims, and then I'm going to activate him right away and get his shots off before he falls. So.
Yeah. And so I think Overwatch and E-Stims is really good on him for that.
Yeah.
Any
other notable upgrades?
Maybe the portable combat shield is okay on him. Just for this, because if he does get shot while he's doing this or moving in, you kind of want to save his wounds for his cards if you're planning to play his card. So I think the combat shield is not a bad thing on him at all. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Or you can also do prepared supplies instead of the E-Stims or the personal combat shield if you just want to dodge that he can use at some point during the game.
Yep.
I think it's probably very easy to get laser focused on trying to do the command card thing, and in reality, just having a 110-point bruiser or 115-point bruiser that's got a great range 3 attack pool. I think that's also just very effective.
It is pretty good. I mean, because he still does have steady, so him moving and shooting is still really good.
And the longer he's still in the game, you keep giving him orders, and then he keeps giving out 2 aims for every order.
2 aims.
So I would, again, put C's on him.
Yeah. I could see that. 100%.
Um,
Next, we have for their last operative and last character for as of right now is our good old boy Din Djarin.
yeah, he did get a new unit card, but it's the same card. It just changes his affiliation to Covert.
Yep. He still gets Bounty Hunter, still gets Arsenal 2, Impervious, Independent Aim 1, and Dodge, and Tactical. I mean, he's still a beast. An absolute beast.
Yeah, I forgot about the tactical too. Or tactical as well.
Yeah. He's really good.
So he does not gain any new command cards, but he still has his 3. This is the way is his 1 pip, and it gives him relentless. Not to be confused with the keyword. This is the way. This is the command card. This is the way.
Yep.
I like those odds. Lets him shoot twice during his activation. He gets a free action attack immediately after his attack. So really good for like killing a unit in melee and then shooting a unit outside of melee. And then Whistling Birds is an action that he can take on his turn if he plays his 3 pip, where he rolls dice to deal auto wounds to enemies within range 1 and line of sight. He can do this while engaged in melee, so you can like punch and then Whistling Birds to hit some nearby enemies, and then they might suffer some auto wounds. You roll more dice for the more units that are in the more models that are in the defending unit, so it's good against like beef squads and stuff, which we're actually seeing more bigger squads.
Yeah,
even like 5, 6, 7 model squads we're seeing. That's good.
Honestly think Whistling Birds is not a bad thing to take with the weak way pirates running around as being a nuisance right now.
Mm-hmm. Or pikes as well. Get around the dodges with the auto wounds.
Yep. I'm looking forward to playing Din a lot. I plan on probably putting him in most of my armies.
Yeah.
I think he's a great way of getting double bounty in Mandos once the customs come out. And I think he's going to be a beast for all Mandalorian armies. I think you're going to see a lot of Din Djarins and you're going to see a lot of Bo-Katans, just because Bo is really good with the Darksaber.
Yep.
Giving everybody, Mandalorians stronger together. I think you could even get away if you really wanted to. You could get away with Din just having the Amban if you want to go cheap. I think he's probably the best with the Beskar spear. I
still like the spear.
I think if you're talking pure covert affiliation and you're doing a pure army, I think you have to put the Darksaber on him. It's 10 points. It makes him immune to pierce. Mm-hmm. Even if you want to put Grogu on him, you put Grogu on him. That puts him up to a 6 hit point unit. With immune to pierce, surging blocks. And now when he gets into melee, he is throwing 7 black, surge to crit. He'll have 2 aims, hopefully. He's getting Pierce 2. That's a Jedi. Like,
yeah,
that's
7 black Pierce 2 is a Jedi attack pool.
Yeah, that's
well, and actually,
good.
Hold on. So the Darksaber's got Pierce 1. The Vibro Knife has Lethal 1. Oh yeah, no. So it is Pierce 2. You can also get to Pierce 2 with the Beskar Spear because of the Duelist keyword.
Yes.
If you have 2 aims. With the Darksaber, you'll need 1 aim.
And you'll probably have the aim because of the tactical one.
Between independent and tactical.
Or the aim. Yeah, the aim. Or independent aim. Yeah, he's really good. I look forward to putting him in the army. He's fully kitted the way I plan on kitting him. He's 142 points, so he's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's just me personally.
We talked about giving him the jetpack to get the speed 3 as a melee bruiser. Just having burst of speed always active, so to speak, is extremely good. I know it's only extra 2 inches of movement, but when you make 4 moves before engaging your opponents, the extra 8 inches adds up. And now with the new Mandalorian upgrades, he's got a lot of different stuff he can take in his gear slot. So the jetpack, I still think is like, you pretty much always want that, but I could see people playing around with some different things, right? So the flame projector is still good. You're technically going to lose
his flame projector, but
that's true. Are they the same?
Yeah, they're the same. They're exact same thing. I kind of wish he would have kept his flame projector, because that would have been a nice way of getting an extra flamethrower in the army.
You're only allowed 2 flame projectors normally. It would have been nice to have 3 with Din, but that's literally why they're making the change.
Yeah, because 3 flamethrowers in this army would be really good. Kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially on some of these units.
But now you can also give him the personal combat shield, which we were just talking about with Paz. Similarly, you could. This might be a way to shave off a couple points, right? So, like, instead of the jetpack to give him speed 3 to get to melee faster, you can do the personal combat shield so that he's moving up the board a little bit more slowly, but he's got a recharging shield potentially to like soak wounds on the way in. I still think getting an attack off a round earlier is probably worth the extra 5 points, but you could do that. You can also give him the whipcord, which he didn't have before. So as an action, he can choose an enemy unit within ranged 1, and then give them 2 immobilized, 2 suppression tokens. So that, I think, is also, maybe instead of the flame projector, you could take the whipcord.
Yeah.
Flame projector is just really good on that relentless turn with Arsenal 2, right? Where you just like charge in, you hit someone with the dark saber, and then you flamer them as well, and it's very rude.
It's very, very rude. Yeah, there's and if you really wanted to, there are 2 ways of getting him the either charge or relentless. I think there's 3 ways. Right? Does he get no, he gets a second attack on one. So yeah, this is the way it gives him relentless, and then weapons are a religion. If you give him an order with that, gives him a charge.
Yep.
So there's 2 ways of being able to get him into either melee and using melee weapons, and getting him close enough to use the flamethrower. So I think putting a flamethrower, and if he's in the covert and is not with bow, you put the dark saber on him. Mm-hmm. It's 10 points. It's makes him immune to pierce. It's a really good impact 1, pierce 1. And then he has the Arsenal 2, so he's going to use his Vibro, which making 7. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, and honestly, if you really wanted to, this brings up the other thing, is the Arsenal 2. 5 black, surge to crit, pierce 1 is sometimes good just into that unit, and then you could either flamethrower or shoot out, and start doing other wounds on other units. So he's a beast. He always has been a beast. He's been really good in the new expansion or new edition, and he fits very nicely in this army too.
Yeah. So those are 3 unique characters, but I think Covert, more than other armies, is really going to benefit from the custom Mandalorians that are going to come out later this summer. And we can highlight this more when we build a list in a minute, but without access to a veteran squad, a special forces squad, you're going to cap out at your 6 core units faster in Covert than you are in the other clans. So you're going to need to fill up your army with activations. And so really the only other thing that you have access to outside of the Mandalorian fire support warriors is going to be your custom leader and your custom hunter. And now I don't think we have all the information yet on these characters, so we don't have to like talk a ton about it, but I just figured we would just highlight what the units are, and go from there. So
sure.
So I'll do the Mandalorian leader. It's a commander with 5 health, surging red saves, 2 courage, and surge to attack. He's got a range 2 blaster pistol with 4 dice and a melee vibro knife with 4 dice, pierce 1. Again, both surging. He's got jump 2, impervious, retinue Mandalorian warriors. So the Mandalorian leader gets tokens if they're within range 2 of the warriors or the fire support teams. So you can make them frontline or backline. And then for this context, they would also have the champion of the watch creed, which is going to make them a covert character. And then this unit gains This Is the Way, aim 1 or dodge 1. So they do get This Is the Way if you issue them orders. And then Kevin talked about this at the beginning, but there are 3 different doctrines that the Mandalorian leader can take. So one is the Battle Master, which gives them death from above. And then they can exhaust instead of expending your cool like Mandalorian gear. You can give them Deadeye instead, which gives them target 1 and sharpshooter. So target 1 synergizes with those orders, right? So like This Is the Way would also trigger with target 1. So they get an aim, and then you can give out an aim or a dodge. Or you can give him War Party Leader, which increases his courage to 3, and then gives you direct Mercenary Trooper and Inspire 1. I think it's going to be hard to not take War Party Leader for direct in an army with This Is the Way all over the place, right? Like,
yeah, it really. It's gonna. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna give you. Like my brain kind of went like, yeah, that's 100% correct, and that's all we need to say.
That's all there is to it, right?
No, I mean, like you said, this army relies on getting activation or orders. Mm-hmm. So you are now getting a free order every turn. So I think War Party, it's also cheap. It's 5 points. You put War Party on him. Honestly, if you really wanted to, you put the Galar carbine on him. So now he's 95 points and giving a free token. This Is the Way every time. And he's got a nice range 3 band that he can help out with and poke around and play support. And he can also, if he got into melee, he's got a decent melee and a decent range 2 bubble. So I think that
pretty good little linebacker.
Pretty good little linebacker. Really nice support unit for Children of the Watch.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
The other thing I think you could do is one of the weapons that you can give to the customs is the Galar 90 sniper rifle, which gives them a range 5 attack pool with a high velocity. So we talked about how it's nice to have that toolbox. Sharpshooter 1, Pierce 1 with that attack pool. So that's pretty good. And then you're using War Party Leader to direct an order onto one of your fire support teams, which is then going to generate one of those coveted aims every turn.
Yeah.
So if you could play him like backline super support with like a rifle fire support team, and you got 2 units sort of in your back line there, or you can play him mid-range, I think, like Kevin just said.
Yeah, holding a point, he's going to be a really good unit. And
I think you can put Seize the Initiative again on him to trigger.
You love that. You love Seize the Initiative.
Dude, more orders, right? Because there's going to be turns where you're like, it's turn 3, I want to play a 1-pip, but I want to trigger. This is the way on like 3 different units, and that's how you're going to do it. Is you're going to pop all your seizes, you know?
And he's cheap enough that it's not a problem.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that carbine you suggested is only 0 points. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Warfighter leader sees 100 points. That's great.
Yeah, 100 points is really good for him.
You want to talk about the hunter quick?
The last one is the hunter. Yeah. So the hunter in I think the battle master, if you don't want the bounty, I think the battle master is really, really good on the hunters. Because then you can put the flamethrower on them, you can put a rocket on them, and then they're a nice little unit that can fire those off twice, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
Especially since impact is vehicles are a huge problem for this army, I feel like. Unless you're taking a bunch of impact grenades, and the micro grenade is like 1 impact 1, you're still struggling. That being said, a lot of times you're throwing 10 dice out of one of the Mandalorian attacks, so you're getting past the armor by just the sheer amount of dice you're throwing. But you can still run into a lot of problems with armor.
Yeah.
That being said, so
you're saying put the jetpack rockets on them?
Yeah, you put the battle master, you put the jetpacks on him, and then if you really wanted to, you could put the flame projector, and then they're able to flame twice, jetpack twice, which is really good for them. And then you can weapon wise, I mean, it's up to you. I think the gunslinger is okay. I really like either the carbine, either the Galar or the E3. E3 is not bad. If you're going to get really crazy with them, the vibro sword is not a bad. If you're going to get really attacky with them, so you could put the vibro sword on them, and then this way, as you're moving into melee, you move, you shoot a rocket, you move, you shoot a rocket, then you're in melee range, turn 3, hopefully they're still alive, move, flamethrower, or flamethrower, move and get your charge off, and you're in melee with them.
Yeah.
So, with a pierce weapon. So I think it's the custom Mandos, once we officially know about them, I think are going to be really, really strong. You're going to see them in a lot of armies, not just Mando armies. I think you're going to see them in a lot of other armies. But I think for the Covert, since we're talking about Children of the Watch, just playing Children of the Watch, I think if you're playing Children of the Watch, you're definitely going to see them in that army.
I think the only time you don't, the only time that you're not seeing the hunter is if you're taking both Paz and Din, and that's your 2 operatives.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but I think you'll see the leader for sure in almost all the armies.
Right.
Just even if you do it the way you said you wanted to do it, and just, even if you do the free carbine and the seize the initiative in the war party, it's 100 points. So now you're giving an order, and when you do play that 1 pip, you're still going to get 2 orders, because you're going to get his order, and then you're going to get the order that he hands out. So, and he has retinue for Mandalorian warriors. So, it's pretty good. Yeah, that hunter doesn't surge for defense, so it's a little bit flimsier than the Mandalorian leaders. So I think you're right that this is. I mean, you have so many different weapon options that you can really choose what range band you want to play your hunter at, and I would probably lean into that with whatever the loadout is. And if you are going to be up in melee, either get them into melee quickly
and maybe use the whipcord to like keep them in melee to keep them safe. Or if you want her to, play kind of mid-range, you could choose to take maybe like the combat shields, the personal shields, along with some of the weapons we talked about. But I agree that Battlemaster is a ton of fun. You can also take Guild Member with the Mandalorian Hunter, which we didn't talk about. That's the one that gives you bounty.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're fine. So you could do double bounty with the Hunter and Din. I guess you alluded to that earlier, but this is how you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is the way bounty works, I don't have to secure my bounty. So if you're playing Din, I think taking a Mandalorian Hunter once they come out and just putting the guild member and the sniper rifle on them, then they can just sit in the back and plink away. And you're getting the double bounty. You're keeping them safe, the hunter safe, because it's their 5 hit points, not surging. I think you could give them the Beskar upgrade, though, right? They get full Beskar for 10 points, so you can give them the surging, block. Yeah, and these are, like I said, we'll know more once they're officially come out. I think some of these are just kind of more leaks than anything. So it depends on when you're listening to this. If you're listening to this in August, they've already come out. If you're listening to this before August, they haven't come out. So, but yeah, I think if you're taking Din, especially, you're going to want to take another bounty. I think double bounty is really nice for any army. And then what's really cool about the Mandalorian Hunter is that you see that they can go in any of the other faction. This is a great way for Guard to get Bounty Hunter.
Right.
Because they don't have it.
The first time.
This is the first time. I think it's going to be very interesting to see Bounty on a Gar army. I'm very interested to see how that works out.
Yeah.
So
if you are taking this in a Children of the Watch army, then I'll just throw a Siege to Initiative on there. Don't mind me.
All right. That being said, all right, let's quickly. We're getting at the 2 hour mark. Let's quickly fire out some lists here. You have, which I think is a really good way of getting it, is let's see your 600 point list from using the box.
Yes.
The special box that the Mandalorians are releasing with. And since that is a 600 point army, I think it'll be really interesting to see how that works out.
Yes, definitely. So, the 600 point list. So they actually give you a list in the Battleforce documents with a suggested recon army. It's a 5 activation list that kind of fully loads up the stuff that you get in the box. You would build one of your 3 Mandalorian squads as initiates. You bring them with the squad upgrade and the grenade launcher. And then you're going to build a second squad as warriors. That will get you a 6-man squad with combat shields and a repeater. And then the fire support that goes with that, you build them with the sniper rifle and the jetpack rockets you put on there. And you run it with armor and din. This is, I think, plenty effective, right? The beef squad initiates with the micro grenade launcher for blast makes a lot of sense. The shucker on the warriors, we talked about doing that. They had some points left over, so they put on combat shields. Sure, why not? And then you got your fire support squad with the long range rockets and rifle. Makes sense. This is a fine list. Even in recon, I still think 5 activations is a little bit low. So I did want to make a list that has 6 or 7 activations. The 7 activation version is like not all that inspiring that you can build out of the box. So you would build one squad, one kit as initiates. You get 11 models from that, and then you would proxy one of the heavies as a regular dude. and just bring 2 5-man initiate squads. Then if we were going for 7 activations, then you would bring 2 warrior squads and 1 fire support squad with a heavy weapon. I'll put on the sniper rifle because I can. So you would do like 7 activations, and then you can you bring the dark saber like we said with the jetpack and the flame projector, and then armor you're gonna put on seize the initiative, and I stapled it to her, man. So you can kind of see where we're going with this. I got 20 points left over. I would maybe put, I don't know, you can do like jetpack rockets on your warriors or something like that. Okay, great. That's a 7 activation list that's really lean. That's going to give you more objective play on the battlefield just because you have more unit leaders to score points. I don't know that this list is very fun. If you're like starting out Legion and you're like, man, I want to build a cool list out of the box, I would actually drop one of the warrior squads, and we're going to mess around with this loadout. So it's armor din, 2 initiates, a warriors, and a warrior fire support. So for this, we're going to put in Grogu because Grogu is a little man. He's a little monster man. And that's great. So Din is good.
He's actually 17 points. I will agree. He's probably pretty good in recon because you're playing on a 3x3 map. So usually mostly everybody's going to be in that range 2 bubble, right? So his little hand thing is going to be really good. Or whatever. Not the hand thing, the passing out suppression, because that's what you're going to do most of the time with him anyways.
Right. Latent
powers.
Yeah. He's a little guy. So I think that'll be very fun and thematic. For the Mandalorian warriors, I do like, especially for recon, you're going to get to range 2 really fast. So you don't have to worry about the range 3 stuff as much. I would put on the micro grenade launcher. You're going to deploy your warriors round 1. Round 2, you step up the board, shoot with your micro grenade launcher, ignoring cover. And then round 3, you move them into melee. That would potentially be a turn where you could play weapons are our religion and give them charge. And we still have 40 points left over. So I would put heavies on the initiates. And then the personal combat shield or something on the armor to make sure that she sticks around. And then you could also give her either flame projector or whipcord. I think I had her with whipcord. So then this was my 6-act list, adding in Grogu for the fun and the theme of it. And then, putting in a couple more heavy weapons and equipping the armor out a little bit more so that she can be a little bit more of a centerpiece. So that's pseudo Vader. I thought this was a pretty dominant list. You have any thoughts, Kevin?
No, I really like this list for recon. There's a lot of fun and different unique things. You have your shucker, the initiate that kind of fills an extra spot. And then you had the micro grenades on one of them, right? I think
the warriors.
I think, I think the micro grenade is great in recon. I think that's really, if you're playing recon, that's really going to shine there.
Yeah.
So,
I will make the one caveat that, like all Mandalorians, you don't have great anti-armor options. So in recon, I would actually put impact grenades on as many squads as possible, and that just gives you enough redundancy so that if one of your squads kind of takes a bunch of wounds, you still have maybe 2 squads left over to do the impact grenades. And then last thing that I'll say is you could do the shucker on the fire support squad like we said. Again, long range is not all that important, and then that gives you enough points back that you saved off of the sniper rifle to then do jetpack rockets.
Yeah.
So if this is my final list here, after much tinkering, that gives us the armorer with seize and whipcord. Din Djarin with the jetpack, flame projector, darksaber, and Grogu. Mandalorian initiates with impact grenades. Mandalorian initiates with the shucker and then impact grenades. Warriors with the range 2 grenade launcher and impact grenades. And then Mandalorian fire support warriors with the shucker and jetpack rockets. And that's tons of impact, so you can handle like an ATST list or something like that, a cheeky bus list or something. And 6 activations, so you have a little bit more board control.
I mean, that's
like
a
it?
pretty good list. I like it.
And then the only thing with command cards is that you're probably taking the Armorer's 2-pip, both Hunter and Prey. That's the implacable style 2 activations in a round thing. Then only leaves 1 2-pip left. You can either take Din Djarin's I Like Those Odds, which gives him 2 attacks during his turn, which sounds great, but I find in practice it's just kind of fine. Or you could bring the hand thing with Grogu, which is like you don't really play that command card. You discard it in reaction to something to give a friendly unit deflect. And I think that's very fun and thematic. If you have enough wherewithal around the rules, maybe you've played a couple times and you get a feel for the pace of the game, then I would try out the hand thing. I think you're going to feel pretty cool when someone's like, I'm going to jump forward with my fleet troopers and I'm going to attack you with this big old dice pool, 20 dice. And you're like, cool, hand thing, deflect. I'm going to give surge to block on whatever you're shooting and 2 dodges. And you're going to feel pretty cool about yourself.
I like it.
Yeah. Cool. So that's my recon list. Kevin, I think we got time to maybe work together and build a 1,000-point list. You want to do that? Is that cool?
Yeah, I put together a Covert full Children of the Watch list. And I had 5 points extra and I didn't know what I wanted to put it in. And so I just took your advice and I put the initiative.
Yes. Yes. Dude, you're going to play this and you're going to be like, wow, a free move with any unit that I want that's within range 2 of the Armorer at any command phase. Wow, that's a great 5 points I spent.
So I'm taking the armor and I put Inspiring Presence on her. Mm-hmm. I did Seize the Initiative and I did Whipcord Launcher.
Yeah, I like the whipcord.
And this is just me. I like 10 activation lists, especially with the Mandos, so that's kind of what I went with. Yeah. Next, I picked Din Djarin, and now we're playing the Covert, so I went Din Djarin. I put the jetpack on him, flame projector, and then the darksaber.
Yes.
And then I also put Grogu on him.
Yes.
Just because why not?
Because he's a little man.
He becomes 6 hit points. He's pretty worth it.
Yeah.
So then I have a Mandalorian warrior unit who has the micro grenade launcher, a flame projector, and the carbine.
That's interesting because the carbine extends its range, but then the flame projector makes it seem like you want to get really close, and then you've got that micro grenade launcher for range 2. So tell me your thoughts. So
this is the other thing is off of this unit, you could take the carbine off. I just put the carbine on all my warriors.
Okay.
So that's why it's just on there.
Yep.
So if I took the carbine off of this unit, I would end up putting 5 points somewhere onto Din, I think.
Yep.
There's that unit. Then I did the Mandalorian warriors with carbine. I did 2 of those. And then I did 1 Mandalorian warrior unit with the Shucker, Paz Vizsla.
Ooh,
So you're looking at 4 total Mandalorian warriors. 1 is kind of a range 2. 2 of them kind of have that range 3 bubble that are kind of like your backliners that are going to sit somewhere. And then you got your beef unit with Paz Vizsla and the Shuckers. And then I did 4 support units.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Talk to
So
me.
this gets you up to your 10 activations.
Okay.
So I did all of them with the Shucker.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I did one of them with a rocket.
Yeah.
And I would probably put like offensive push on the Paz unit. And then
with that seize the initiative that you bought on the armorer, you're going to get a turn where you get 2 free recovers, not to mention she's got her 3 pip. So I also think you could stand to put offensive push on your Mandalorian warriors with the grenade launcher.
the flamethrower.
So it's a flamethrower, grenade launcher, offensive push. It's up to 97 points now. You got 3 points left over. So
put the impact grenade on that little Mandalorian warrior, and then they split fire, where they use a grenade launcher, a grenade, and whatever guys you have left, and shoot at a vehicle, and then one guy flame projects off into another unit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
because the grenade launcher is impact 1, so it's an impact 5
especially
attack
if
pool.
you really. It's not.
So that's pretty good.
It's not a bad. Yeah. Especially with that versatile card with the charge and everything like that.
Yeah,
you can get really wacky with it.
Well, then you've got those 2 great Mandalorian warrior units that you're going to give infiltrate to, right? With their covert 2 pip. And man, all those repeaters with sharpshooter 1 on the Mandalorian fire supports is like pretty rad.
Good.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like the Shucker. I think the Shucker is a great gun, especially for its points. Even if you don't use the overwhelm, I still think it's still a really good gun. 3 black surging.
Yeah, 3 surging black. I think adds a lot to these attack pools.
Yeah.
Because, like we talked about sleeper cells when they came out. 10 surging black attack dice. Oh my god. How powerful is that? Now that was partially because they were like 75 points or something stupid, but these big surging black attack pools, especially if you get an aim, are like pretty solid. And when all of your units hit like that, I think Mandalorians are going to feel really punchy.
Yeah.
So.
It's going to feel really good. I wish the affiliation was a little bit better.
So we didn't use that at all in either of the 2 lists we just talked about. We did not put a unique character into an initiate squad, nor did we bring more than 2 initiate squads.
Yeah.
So Kevin, as a thought experiment, let's quick throw together 1,000 points that use the
extra initiate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put Paz in one of the initiate squads with the Shucker to get that good range 3 pool, and I'm actually gonna put offensive push in that squad. I think that's a really solid squad. In another initiate squad, I'm gonna put the armorer and the micro grenade launcher to shoot on the way up the board. 2 more naked initiates, and then 2 Mandalorian warriors, 2 fire support teams. And in those warriors, I'm going to try putting in the micro grenade launcher, which is going to move me up to 111 points. So I might
skim the fat somewhere.
I got to trim the fat somewhere. That's exactly right. I guess I could drop the hunter sniper rifle and an offensive push to get down exactly 11 points. So I'll try doing that for now. Instead,
11 acts, it's still pretty good.
For 11 acts, right? Like that's my thought. And maybe the other move, if I played with this list and felt like I needed better targets to infiltrate. I feel like Covert really wants like 2 big squads to infiltrate, or some really good squads to give those recovers to, or things like that. Then I could drop some of the heavies on the Mandalorian warriors, because we said at the beginning that warriors are probably fine just naked, and then take those 44 points from not having those grenade launchers and then put them into other upgrades. But I'd probably want to play around with the list a little bit just to see maybe more of what that looks like. So, well, shoot, man, we just talked about like 4 different lists that you could play in just Covert, and that's with a really bad,
and they're not bad lists.
Battleforce ability. Yeah, they're not bad lists.
I like I said, I think this is a great release for Legion. I think them pretty much releasing like 5 armies out of one box is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, cause each army is gonna play a little bit different. Yeah, the dice pool might be the same. Some of the gear is the same, but the way you're playing those units is going to change. And I think that's huge for Legion. I think that's huge for players who really like Mandos, but don't kind of get pigeonholed into kind of like a style of that army. You know what I mean? So, you kind of feel like you can play a different version of that army a different way. They're all a little bit similar with wanting to share tokens or not share tokens, but giving out tokens and stuff like that. But I think it's really cool.
Yeah. This army's I feel like this army is just a really interesting puzzle to build with, and I'm really excited to get all of my stuff built up and put on the table. I think Covert's one of the subfactions that I would really like to play with. The other being Deathwatch, Clan Saxon. I know you're a Clan Kreese fan, and
yes,
that's not even touching the soup that we get to play with.
It's not even touching the soup. Yeah, and like I said, I played them this weekend or at our tournament, our local tournament, and they're so much fun. They're so much fun. Like I said, I went 1 and 2, but each game I had giant smile on my face, having a blast playing them. Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for today's discussion. If you liked it, please give us a like on this video. Give us a great review on Spotify or iTunes. And if you totally loved it, go ahead and share this link to this video, or share the name of our podcast on your local Discord server or play group chat. Do people have group chats anymore, Kevin?
I don't know.
A WhatsApp group?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Thanks so much for listening to the 630 Skirmishers podcast. And until next time, roll good, play better.